Welcome to the Exhaust Note Podcast. I'm Brynn, the host, and this episode is actually part 2 to my conversation with Aadit. Make sure you check out episode 3, which is part 1, before enjoying this episode.
I also wanted to talk to you about, have you seen Xiaomi's car?
No.
That car cost like 70 to 80K. It has 1500 horsepower and it has like more features than your smartphone. Like the screen will rotate and all that. It's so amazing. People in China are like, it's so fast, and they reduced the horsepower to like 900 because it was too fast allegedly. It's insane.
Still, 900 horsepower
For 70K.
for 70K is a good deal. That is some Dodge numbers.
Right. And the thing is, it's electric, right? And you're gonna get that performance metric. Again, when people say my Dodge has 800 horsepower, I mean, how much of that 800 horsepower you're putting in the ground? How much of that 800 horsepower is turning to smoke, right? So I'm glad that with an EV they're able to put all that power down in most cases. So maybe if that was adopted here, I would love to buy that car.
Yeah. So what is your take on the new, I think it's called, the Yangwang? The 293 mile per hour electric hypercar?
Isn't that the car which can sort of like bounce and like jump? I think it's the car that can jump, but these Chinese cars are so crazy. The technologies you're getting there just seems like amazing. Like, why are we not getting that here?
Yeah.
Honestly, I also feel so we're limited in the news outlets because a lot of news outlets are in Chinese, right? So we're not able to get that news here, even though we can hear about the cars. I really hope that they maybe sort of release those cars, at least maybe sample in the US so we can see the cars, how they drive.
Right.
But I mean, I know the cost of those cars, like the Yangwang, is far less compared to like a Bugatti, right?
Exactly.
If that is the case, it just makes so much sense to buy it here. But I don't know. It's tough to get that here.
Because that 293 miles per hour, assuming that were true, would outperform a Rimac Navara.
Yeah. Speaking of Rimac Navara, what is your opinion on the Lucid Air Sapphire?
Okay. Alright. I think having 1200 horsepower in a car is cool, obviously, but it's too heavy. It's too heavy to have that much power. Even if it's all-wheel drive, it is hard to put that to the road.
Right. And I think when you're talking about road, it could be for people that are driving a driver's car. You never need that much power. Like for a driver's car, 300 horsepower is plenty if it's light enough, right? But for that car, it's meant for straight lines and to sort of launch. But I feel like when people look at the Sapphire's 250K sticker price, it's not for consumers. It's for people who are fascinated about it. Maybe like a proof of concept. But for people, right, does it make sense to pay that much more money? You can buy a Lucid Air Pure for like 80K, right? It has more than 400 miles of range, about 300 to 400 horsepower. I just feel like for most people that does the job, and it's like it's 70, 80K. It makes so much more sense.
That's all you need for a daily driver. I mean, you might need a little more since it is over 5,000 pounds, I believe. But yeah, it works. The Air Sapphire is just overkill in every definition of the word. But hey, if you have $250,000 in a dream, then go after it. I can't stop you.
Yeah, but the Sapphire, I mean, compared to the Tesla Model S Plaid, I feel like they put in more care and thought into it because they've changed a lot about the car to make the Sapphire versus Tesla's just throwing a few other motors and maybe, I mean, of course, don't mistake me for it, but they've changed a few things, but not as much as as Lucid has done for the Sapphire. Have you heard of the Honda Prologue?
Oh yes, I have. I believe I've seen one of those on the road.
Yeah. The Honda Prologue, right? It's an interesting car because you're basically taking the framework from GM's like Blazer EV, Chevy's Blazer EV, but it's in a Honda, and people aren't happy about that because they want Hondas to be built by Honda so they can have the Honda reliability. And it sort of hurts me to see that companies like Honda and Toyota aren't building EVs as we expected, right? Like they should be the first people to be building those affordable mass scale EVs. but instead they're sticking with hybrids, and I think that might be for practicality, for reliability, for affordability as well, right? I mean, Toyota's done the BZ4X, but is that what we're looking for? I mean, it doesn't make much sense, that car.
It doesn't make much sense. I believe the I believe that Toyota was also badge swapped under the Subaru name, right?
Yeah, Subaru Solterra.
Yeah.
So they did that. I mean, they do that a lot of times, but the problem with that, it just doesn't make sense for those companies. And I think it's also their lineup, right? If you see a Prius, which is getting 57 mpg, 600 miles of range, and you see those cars which cost like 35 to 40K, which get like 200 to 300 miles of range, and they're a lot more expensive, does it make sense? Why would you not buy the Prius? Of course, it's not all electric, but it technically makes more sense for a financial standpoint, and it might be more reliable or like more environmentally friendly because it doesn't have that big of a battery powering it, right? And if we get back on that topic, people are like, okay, an EV is good for the environment. What is powering that EV? At the end, it's fossil fuels which are generating to power the EV. In some cases, maybe like solar panels or wind energy, maybe hydropower. But in most cases, it's fossil fuels powering those EVs. So why are you adding the extra step to convert those fossil fuels into energy into electricity for the car, right? Why are you doing that if you can just buy a gas car or maybe buy a hybrid, more sustainable? And that too, it when those batteries are done, when they've degraded enough, they're being thrown into the environment. Even if they do recycle them somehow,
True.
it's not good for the environment. So why is that proposed as environmentally friendly?
I don't know. I feel like people prioritize image. I feel, and the image of electric cars is that they're environment friendly, even if they aren't, which is most cases, except for like the Fisker Karma. But it's really, I feel batteries are, in a lot of cases, a bit pointless because their main sell is zero emissions, which in a way there is emissions, but they're dragging the car down. They are making it heavier, plus, like you said, the batteries are gonna pollute the environment. So, and taxpayer money is going into putting charging ports all over the country. So it's a big burden on everyone involved instead of just using gas engines. Not that I don't like electric engines, but I feel that this great pushing of them is a bit unnecessary.
That is a hot take, and I feel I can agree with that in a lot of cases, right? Like, again, for affordability, it doesn't make any sense to buy an electric car. People just think that, for example, if they're stepping from a BMW, your neighbors have a BMW, if they're gonna step down to a car, they're not gonna step down from a BMW to a Prius. They feel like, oh, a Hyundai Ioniq 5 is in the middle and makes more sense. If you're that against buying a Toyota, just buy a Toyota Grand Highlander for 60K. I'm pretty sure, but of course, then again, you're missing the affordability. And in a lot of cases, the electric car doesn't make sense, like you said. Affordability, no. Range, no. Like reliability, maybe for the first few years, but after that, no. Like, are you getting an electric car to 1,000,000 miles realistically without having that much battery depletion? Probably not. And that's why I feel like gas cars have been tested and have done their. We know that they work. But
Right.
I think we should wait for like electric cars, like the Model S 2012 or 2013. If we wait till people, right now it's been the adoption of made electric cars. So from 2020 to probably now, that's when we've seen a lot of electric cars being bought. If we wait for another 10 years and see what people are going to do with their degraded batteries in their Tesla Model Y, right? Let's see if they do, let's see what they're going to do. What is Tesla going to do, right? If they can do anything about it and if it's sustainable, then cool. If it's not sustainable, I think we should all just switch back.
Yeah.
It's really confusing, the whole thing about like electric cars.
I feel, I mean, electric cars are fine to a certain degree. I don't like how much they are being pushed by not just companies but governments. And especially so. Okay, this is a hot take, but I really do not like when a car is revived and made electric.
Like the Hummer EV.
Like, well, not just the Hummer EV, which is 3,800 kg, by the way, but also the Renault 5. That's electric. The Lancia Ypsilon is electric. I I don't like because it feels like they're hurting the car's legacy a bit.
Yeah,
It feels like a cash grab. The Nissan Micra.
and I think that's the case with a lot of brands trying to revive the famous. Either it's a nameplate or it's the brand itself, like Jaguar. What are they doing there? I haven't seen that car. It hasn't been finalized, right? Of course, it's very like, that Jaguar thing is a hot take, but it is. I don't know. Are they sort of disgracing the brand? Like the brand, remember like those days of those wonderful Jaguars, which were like known as the British
Yeah.
like evergreen cars, and people love to drive them. And now they're turning into the big chunky block.
Okay. I really do not think that is going to stay. I think I this is while bringing this into conversation about cars. But have you seen the Cracker Barrel rebrand?
No.
Okay, they changed the logo for like a week, and then they had so much backlash. They lost like 100 million in their value that they just took it back. I think that's what's going to happen with Jaguar because they are going to learn that their entire audience just runs away the second they change who they are as a brand. Because if it works, then why change it?
Right. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And
Exactly.
that's a lot of things. But Jaguar is sort of broke because nobody's buying their cars because it doesn't make any sense. Like who's buying a Jaguar I-Pace if you can buy a Model Y at like half the price with twice the range, 4 times the tech, and 10 billion times the charging infrastructure, right? Like who's buying? Again, that's exaggerated. Of course, those numbers are very exaggerated, but it doesn't make sense for Jaguar, and I think that's why they have to do the rebrand. But it doesn't have to be this much of a rebrand. They don't have to like ruin the whole legacy of the
Yeah.
brand. The brand had a class to it, like a prestige, but now I don't know if that's gonna just die.
Okay, here's what I think they need to do, and this is just me. I think most of their fleet should go back to the 70s and 80s. That is the kind of cars that they should go back to making. And when it comes to like fleet emission average, they can just pull a Aston Martin Signet. Like just find some random economical car and then slap their name on it, and then the British government will be happy.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty good of a like. I think that's quite smart of you saying, because Jaguar they just need to go back to making the sports cars. Like the F Type is a good sports car, but it's not a top tier sports car at all, right? Why do you not go back to something lightweight, something manual? Like what did Lotus do? That's what I want to see in a car, making a maybe a mass scale EV and like an SUV and sedan, and then making an amazing set of sports cars. That's what I think that's going. Of course, Lotus isn't doing the best, but they're doing good, way better than what they were doing, and I think that's a really good thing. Keep the legacy and add a few models. Don't just change your. Look, they replaced the whole brand lineup with just SUVs and sedans that are not very good.
Yeah. I think they just need to return to making the muscle cars that they made. That is the best way for them to continue existing at all right now.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, right? And again, the whole thing with like brands and trying to get back the market, I think it's just being the market is changing, right? People's views. We just need somebody to clarify to make everything make more sense for everybody, right? Like we should tell them about EVs, right? People need to speak out and say that it makes sense in some cases, but doesn't make sense in other cases. If you're buying an affordable car, it doesn't always have to be an EV, right? And you just have to point out what we are looking for in our cars. Consumers, making an EV sounds nice, but what if we just made why don't car companies focus on the tech? Why is the tech looking so clunky? Make a UI that's smooth, pretty nice, right? Maybe add Android Auto, Apple CarPlay to the whole car. Like Apple's doing the Apple CarPlay Ultra, but don't control the car, Apple, right? Don't control the whole car. But make the just maybe focus on other things other than just the EV and trans. Maybe just we're missing the part that like shaped the car industry, which was making it like increase, maybe change the car world, right? With these revolutionary breakthroughs, different ideas and concepts being tested, proven, or just disregarded altogether, right? We need to experiment more. We're basically leaning into doing the exact same thing, and it's just wasting time.
That is true. And you see this every day. If you go to a parking lot, 90% of the cars are going to be silver, black, white, red. Everybody except for like Dodge and supercar companies are very tight on their colors. Not only do we need more color, but we need to go back. Okay, imagine like the 70s in America. Look at just the hood on 5 different cars. Look at the Oldsmobile 442 using a ram air system. Look at like the Plymouth Barracuda Formula S using the vents in the hood. Everyone was trying something different. And the 50s was the same way in international motorsport. Everybody had so many different ideas that they were just trying because they didn't know what worked. I feel like we need to go back to that state in general of being different and just trying stuff to see if it works. Because every company selling the same car is just boring.
Right, and I think it's just that a lot of people are scared. Like, what if that flops? What if we lose all our revenue because we spent all of this on testing this new concept? They're just all scared of that because nobody's experimenting anymore, right? And I think everybody's just scared of like the EV thing, right? It's just is not the right market and the right time to be doing those, even though they should be doing those. Because again, people just want a vehicle that moves them from point A to point B. And now I feel like a lot of companies have just sort of settled in their formula. Like Honda is going for the formula, Toyota, they're doing the same formula. And I think it's genuinely really boring. Like, we get the point that you want to do this, but you have to do other things on top of that.
Right.
Right? You can maybe make an economy car and also shorten and trim down your lineup, right? We want less options, more customization. Like, remember that
Right.
the Slate truck that's coming out,
Yeah.
right? Building and shaping every part of your car. What do you really need? That makes a lot of sense. Like, I could say I want a good transmission, I want a good engine, I don't care about the rest of the car, right? Or I want more tech and I don't care about the driving dynamics, right? If you can change that in a car, maybe pick a scale, maybe make something new, just change it up, make it breakthrough, right? That'll be so great, and I think we really need that. One last thing, I think that we should bring back the manuals, save the manuals, right?
Yes.
Before we have to be focusing on that because they're a great way for car enthusiasts to feel. And like, why is Honda's only manual option the Honda Civic Si? Why does Toyota barely have any affordable manuals except the TR86? We want to see more options. It'd be so great, right? I mean, you just make a regular car with a manual. Like Nissan, thank you for putting the 5 speed in the Versa, but the Versa is a bit too basic for a lot of people to be driving. Like, I'd be embarrassed to pull up somewhere in a Versa because it just seems like hey, I never I don't know. It's just that. Like, why can't Toyota take a Highlander and put a stick in a Highlander? Like, give that option to us. Don't make a lot of them. Let us order it, but we would love that. Like, people just enjoy those things, like having the pleasure of driving manual. But that's right. I think that we should bring back the manuals.
All right. One last question for today. If you could have any car, if you could own any car, what would it be? And how would you change it?
Right. Again, from the start of this podcast, I love driving cars. The one car that I would love to own is the Porsche 911 Turbo S. Of course, it is feasible, right? But for me to obtain that, but just right now, I love that car too much. I think what Porsche should be doing is, right, they added the new T hybrid system to the 911 Turbo S, but they should bring back the days of Turbo S magic, right? Remember, like, all those car world drag races where Turbo S's were beating every single other supercar, right? Now that's gone, right? All the Ferraris hybrids and like McLaren's crazy light and super fast cars, the 765 LT, they're beating the Turbo S, right? So maybe this T hybrid system, I thought I was expecting a big upgrade because when they do the upgrade, finally they're going to do a big thing. But no, they didn't do much, right? So make the Turbo S slightly more powerful to the point where it doesn't over exceed the Porsche formula. It should be in the range, but the higher end of the range without having to spin its without having to be uncontrollable, right? Keep that car. That's what I want for the agent. The transmission, the PDK is the best transmission created of all time, so I don't want to talk about the PDK, right? Design wise, it looks great. Maybe make it something that looks more eye catching, right? New Porsche make it a bit more cool. That way I don't feel bad spending 300K on a car, right? And then the interior, bring back the classic bits. Make the rest of the interior screens. I don't care, but please bring back the. Actually, it'd be really great if you can add analog gauges. I want to see that. And if you give a stick on the Turbo S, I will be the happiest person alive, right? I mean, I want to see that. And then that's what I want to see in the Turbo S. I don't have anything else to change with that car. It's fairly basic. Of course, I can probably think of a car that I would like to change more, but that's just a car. I think it'll make people happy. What about you?
Probably a Renault Clio V6 because hatchback and a front to put everything, and you are right in front of the Gordini V6. Not like how a Lamborghini Miura is, where it's just there and there's nothing separating you. But like, yeah, you get to be one with the engine and with the car. And a lot of people said it's a really good driver's car. But anyway, yeah, it's been a pleasure talking with you. This has been the Exhaust Note Podcast. I am Brynn. That is Aadit. And we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you. Bye.